Hey, Bob.
Hey,
Hey.
Bob. How you doing, Charles?
So far,
So
so
far? Well, we could all complain, but who'd bother listening, right?
well. That's true. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of at the point in my life. I'm used to being ignored.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Me
yeah.
too. We value your opinion, however. We don't care.
Oh, hey, Fran, how you doing? Yeah, we got a few minutes. So.
Did you get that photograph of my niece's husband and little child?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I mean, I'd say it's one of those things that I may not be able to resist.
Well, I would encourage you not to. I mean, dive right in. That's how that's how you get yourself in trouble there. But it's good.
Yes.
You got to kind of dig yourself out, and you learn a lot on the way.
Yes, you do. Yes, that's true.
So, and I mean, every painting's different.
Yes.
As much as we would like to think that you could get this down to a pat science, and everyone is going to be just the same. No,
Nope. Nope.
There's always new challenges coming up. So and sometimes it's the stuff you didn't expect.
Well, that's true. I mean, I've got a stack of reference photographs right now that's probably a foot thick.
Mm-hmm.
That I keep seeing. Say, oh, hey, I'd like to do that, and I save it, and then something else comes along behind it, and then I save it, and something else comes along, and I save it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about this morning with the sketchbook. That's why having a sketchbook is really valuable, because you can do those little thumbnails.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of helps, connect it to your brain. So when you go back and look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I wanted to do that.
Right.
Always go back and, grab the ones that really, you have a little juice behind and you want to do something with.
Yeah, my son has a friend who's an attorney in Florida. However, his hobby is underwater photography.
Okay.
And he's got some close-ups of some sharks and turtles and things. I mean, they're magnificent. And no, there's another group of stuff that is fascinating to try to recreate in my own fashion, put it that way.
Yeah, it's, I always see myself, as a figurative artist, because that's kind of my passion. That's my love,
Mm-hmm.
But, I do portraits because after being an illustrator for so many years, it's a similar process, because you're trying to relate to pleasing a client, with the painting. And I think a lot of fine artists don't have the temperament to do that. And I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm used to doing it. I've done it for well over 40 years now. And so it seems to be a natural fit,
Right.
into portraiture. But, I mean, I like doing a little bit of everything, landscape, even still life, on occasion.
Yeah.
It depends on the still life, but I could be happy really doing all kinds of different things. But I think as you get older, you begin to sort of narrow your focus down and kind of move in the direction of what you're really passionate about.
As I always tell myself, when I grow up, I want to be an artist.
Right. Yeah. Let me know when you do that, okay?
Okay. All right. You'll be the second person to know.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of more the Peter Pan thought of, I never want to grow up.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Growing up makes you way, way, way too serious about stuff. And,
Absolutely.
Yep.
And the thing about art is, if you get too serious about it, it's, it becomes a job and it's not fun anymore. I did that, for a career in advertising. It's like, advertising was fun, but, after a while, it does become a job. And particularly when when you have to kind of move up the ranks and you start kind of managing people rather than, having your hands, in there mucking around, making art.
Right. Yep.
Anyway, it's, we got 13 whole people here and it's time to get started. So everybody have a good lunch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we got all kinds of stuff to share with you today. A lot of you sent a lot of stuff in, which is good. And, we're going to go through it. We're going to look at it. We're going to talk about it a little bit and have you talk a little bit about it. I want to kind of hear, what you were thinking, why you, as best you can, why you picked the thing you picked, as far as the thing that you wanted to work on. Okay. So we're going to start sharing now. Hit the right button here. Okay, there you go. All right. So we've looked at this before. This is part of Bob's, challenge. He did a figure, and it's actually, I had one. Yes, I have one. It's right here. That's the full thing. Okay. So Bob, give us the why you chose this particular image to work with.
Well,
I
really don't know. I just basically I have some CDs that have art poses on them, and I was trying to I wanted to do a figure, and so I was kind of wandering through, and all these poses give you 360-degree radius, so you can look at all kinds of angles. Mm-hmm. And this one just kind of struck me as very tasteful for a nude, and just something that there's a lot of angles and different positions that you got to work on to try to make it right. So.
Right. Okay. How do you feel about it? I mean, do you feel pretty good about it?
I feel reasonably good about it. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that keeps getting me is the fact that the faces fall flat, mm-hmm. To me, and so basically I need.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I have two dogs, and one of them's anyway. They just don't have any personality. I think basically, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. I'm going to agree with you in the sense that when you say that they fall flat, it's not that they don't have any personality. I mean, she's kind of a pretty woman. The thing is, when I'm looking at the head, okay, out of the whole drawing, it seems to be the focal point, the thing that you really want to look at.
Right.
And yet, the way that you treated it, it doesn't seem to have a lot of form. You successfully rendered, a rounded form on like the forearm here. Okay, even in the hand, this arm, this leg, all the rest of the figure feels three-dimensional and solid, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you get to the face, there's no change in value, or very little change in value, from really the jawline all the way over to the other side of the forehead here.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and it's a rounded form. That can't be, you know, it's just not going to happen. And so there's got to be some change in value as it moves, you know, around that form, and that will begin to make it feel like it's got more of a three-dimensional feel to it, right?
Okay.
You know, in looking at the rest of the drawing and where the light source seems to be coming from, which seems to be sort of more or less from the left-hand side, slightly above her head, but
Right.
not like way above her head, just kind of slightly, because it's coming in at an angle like this. You know, you're going to get a big change in value right here along the break between the side plane of the head and the front plane of the face. You know, there should be, I would think, some change in value, you know, across this plane right here and across the forehead. So, and that would, again, turn that form, see?
Okay.
And, you know, now I'm not saying, you know, make it real dark. It could be fairly subtle, but there's got to be some change there. And it's got to occur right there around that break between what's on the side and what's on the front, okay?
Okay.
And then I think you'll feel like she's got more dimension to her.
Okay.
Now this was one of your earlier versions
Right.
of your landscape, and it was the dock that was out there at Lake Martin that I sent out. And so, you know, you've got all the elements, you know, beginning to, you know, fit in place here. This is a little further along, okay? And so you've got, you know, the reflections in the water, you've got the dock, you know, all the trees, you're beginning to get the texture and stuff in there, which is, you know, all really pretty nice. And then you add color to it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, you know, the black and white all by itself was, you know, working pretty well, all right? It needed a little cleaning up here and there, but, you know, overall the value, structure, and everything else was working. And then you went back and you added color. And as you added color, you also, it seems like, introduced some kind of opaque color in there, like China white, something like that, to lighten some of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if this is indeed a reflection, okay, of this landmass, it's right here. And if indeed the light is, say, evening or, you know, sunset, and, you know, you've got the light in the sky here, right? You're going to get light on the water, but this whole mass of land is going to be in some sort of shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Because the light's on the other side of it, right? And then that means that this reflection overall would be darker because it's reflecting a dark landmass.
Well, okay. I have a little bit of an excuse if I can.
Okay.
I've got a set of what's called ink tints. They're kind of like pastels but harder.
Okay.
And in there is a white.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, you mentioned the fact that I had two strong of black things in there in one of the earlier versions.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that white and covered it up, and it covered it up.
Yeah. It did. Okay. Yeah, but it also made the value of the color that you had there much lighter. You know, you put that blue in, and so you might want to go back and you might want to hit that with blue a couple of times, and see if you could push a little more blue in there so it's not so light. Because if you squint your eye down, you know, it is really a pretty light value right there. and I know you covered it up with white to get rid of the really dark marks under it. But yeah, the value overall is too light.
So that's ink and not watercolor.
No, these are like pastels. They're hard,
Oh,
and you it's kind of like a watercolor pencil, sort of like, and so you put it on and then you wash over it with water, and
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, so it's kind of like a watercolor pencil type thing. Okay. So anyway, again, it's thinking about the value of things. All right. Let's see. The next thing is you sent this in and you asked me about this. And it's a great image. It really is. It'd be, a lot of fun to do that. I guess the question is, are you going to put the chocolate lab in there?
Well, I'm going to face him a different direction. I'm going to turn him around so he's looking up at the man in the picture.
Oh, okay.
So all you see is the back of his head.
Yeah.
And back, tone it down so he's not there. But where I want to go for is the look from the little girl
Oh, that's cute.
into the face of her grandpa.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just priceless.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Yeah. Now you said this gentleman is your brother?
No, he's my niece's husband.
Oh, your niece.
And that's their latest grandchild.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. So what is she, about maybe 3?
No, I don't think she's that old in the picture. No. Not quite. Yeah. And basically, I mean, he's a super guy. He really is. He's a huge man, huge, and just a big butterball.
Okay. All right. Okay. This is Claudia's, but is Claudia here?
Make a great Norman Rockwell painting.
That's exactly what I thought. The instant I saw it.
Yeah. Let's see. Did Claudia make it back yet? She said she might not be here. Okay. Well. All right. I'll move on. We'll talk about Claudia's when Claudia is here. This is Elan, and I think, well, no, that's the earlier version. Okay. And this is the latest version where Elan came back in and softened, some of these edges.
I kept on doing it and I fixed some of the issues you talked about, but I forgot to email it to you.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's a little bit better than this one.
Okay. All right. Well, you can email it to me at some point in the near future. Okay.
Okay.
That means later today or tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
That way we can hear it. Okay. Okay. Those got in there. I don't know how. Okay. We got Miss Jean Goldstein. Okay. Jean, you here?
Wow. Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay. So this was.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great.
We can hear you now.
Okay. Okay.
So this was taken from that piece of the bird, at least inspired by it, even though the composition is somewhat different.
Well, I used 2 pictures. I used one with the landscape, the landscape, seascape, whatever you want to call it, and then I put the bird in it instead of. I combined the 2.
Yeah. And guess what? That's great. That's kind of what we wanted you to do was, be inventive, play, make it your own. And you did. And on this particular case, when you showed it toward the end of last week,
Right.
the comment.
The bird was not as definitive.
Mhm.
I had it very loosely painted.
Right. Yeah. So you came back in and you cleaned up that edge in particular.
Yes, I cleaned it up and I put in, you suggested, in between the bird's head and the shoreline, some of the lights to pick it up a little bit.
Yeah. But you did a really nice job, you know, just kind of cleaning that edge up.
Right.
And now you see it's sharp. It's the sharpest thing in the paint
Right.
out of all your edges. And you see what that did? I mean, it really brought that bird forward.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
all your trees and, you know, the landmass and everything back behind it, even though it's very loosely, almost abstractly painted,
Right.
works really well. See, there's a nice contrast between those two things, and you know exactly where to look
Yes.
in this painting, which is going right there, you know, to that bird. And then you kind of begin to meander up here, you know, and around a little bit, back to it. So I think, you know, you resolve that really nicely. You know, I like the use of color. I like the brushwork, you know.
Was your suggestion, I had it real loose because I thought, you know, a bird would be, it should be, well, it needed to be, you were right about that.
Mhm.
Make him, since he was so close, to not make him as loosely painted as I had him.
Right. Yeah.
Good suggestion. Helped 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing about doing a painting is you want to be selective. You want to be selective about what it is that you make those hard, tight edges on, and put more work and detail in. And just, you know, by being selective and not putting it everywhere, what you do is, you know, you direct the viewer's eye, you know, the person who comes, you know, behind you and is seeing the art later on. You tell them where it is that you want them to look and what you were talking about. See,
Right.
So you're clearly communicating, you know, with them. It's like, this painting is really about this, okay? And I want you to look here. And yeah, all that other stuff is nice, and the paint surface and all the colors and layering and stuff, but the subject is this white
The bird.
or ibis or whatever kind of bird that is. Okay. And see, when you do that, all of this becomes sort of a supporting actor, and it tells the story, but it's not that important. You know, people aren't going to focus on it. You know, where they're going to go is right where you want them to go, which is right here. Okay. So you pulled that off really nicely. Now this is what, 11 by 14?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You know, the only thing I have to say, you know, negatively about it is you should have done it like 4 or 5 times larger. You know,
I would have never completed it on time as a challenge. I'm a very slow painter.
Yeah. And I know you've got a limited amount of space, you know, wall space. And things.
Right.
But yeah, that would make, you know, that would make a beautiful painting if it were more like about a 30 by 40 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would catch, you know, it would certainly catch your eye, and, you know, from a distance, it would all fall together.
If I do that, you can't move. You have to store all my pieces.
I have to do what to all your pieces?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I said the pieces. I don't have room to put them anywhere. It's right. Yeah. If I did 30 by 40 instead of the 11 by 14s.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I understand the problem, you know. That's not uncommon. Okay, and then I'm going to talk through this next series of pieces that you did.
Right.
I'm actually going to start with the one that you originally sent in, which I think is this one, okay? And this is watercolor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and this one is cropped a little better. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. And it really is a beautiful piece, you know, just all on its own. You know, and I like again, the way you kind of simplified, where's my cursor? Okay, where do we go? There we go. Really kind of simplified the light on the arms and the front of the leg. And then you've got some value or tone, you know, all through, you know, the rest of the body. And that, it works really well. And even your background colors, you know, in dividing them up into 3 spaces instead of just 2, again, adds a little more credibility to it and puts her in an environment, you know, that a viewer can relate to. Okay.
Right.
And then you went from that, and you wanted to loosen it up, you said, and you went to this, right? And
Yeah.
this.
I used a little ink in there.
Mhm.
I was trying to colors and did a little ink in the body. Yeah, the ink is from like a fountain, not a fountain pen, but a
Like a ballpoint pen?
like a pen you write with, a ballpoint pen.
Yeah, and again, you know, I mean, it works really nicely just the way it is. You know, you've got some transparent washes and things in certain parts of the body. And again, it makes it kind of interesting and a little more modern and contemporary than your previous piece. The only thing I would say here is that, you know, I probably would.
I don't respond to
and not let it be as strong as you got it there, so that it's less distracting. And then the drawing.
It's breaking up on my set. What would you? I shouldn't have put what as strong as on the legs, the purple.
Yeah,
the
where you ran the blue across here.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just take some water, and I would wet that and lift and soften that back so that there's part of an edge on it.
Okay.
And that way, you know, it can be cooler down there, but you know, it's the shape. It's kind of rectilinear, you know, and
yes,
fit with going around the form of a body.
right.
Okay. Now this is the last one that you sent me, and again, you know, you've loosened it up quite a bit, and you know, I'm thinking that the figure itself is nicely done, you know, and you know, I don't need all the detail, you know, of the head and stuff like that. For me, though,
Trying to do like an atmospheric or more textural piece, and I took a razor and into the legs and the arms to roughen it up. I don't think you can see it on that thing. It's really just a 5x7 piece, but I was just trying to see what I could do with it.
Yeah. So, you know, my comment is this: you've got a really nice fit here, right? And the thing that's distracting you from the figure right now is how busy the background is.
What that is.
Okay.
That was trying to get texture.
Okay. And you can keep the texture back there. But the thing that I would do is I would darken some of this down. It doesn't have to be as dark as this, but just get the value darker. And that way the light on the arms and on the figure really pop forward. And if I were going to darken this, I would keep it cooler in temperature rather than warmer.
Okay.
So that means blues, greens, even violet back here. All right. No reds, yellows, oranges, any of that.
Right.
Just keep it generally cooler back in there and darken down the value overall so that, you know, there's no real light areas, or not very many of them at least.
Including the ones on the opposite side. Where are you talking about?
Yeah, over here.
To over there, right there. You talk about right in there. Don't use those whites there because it takes away from the, Yeah, it's a wash or something over it in the blues.
Yeah, it's a bit distracting. I mean, the easy fix for this is just take a little bit of blue, maybe a touch of violet in it, right? And then just, you know, wash over this whole background area.
Okay.
And knock it back just again, not a lot darker, just a little bit darker, so that there's nothing back here that really competes with the light on the skin. Okay?
Okay.
And you know, I think you'll have a nice piece after that. You know, it's nice now, but again, it's just how do you improve it? How do you push it a little bit further?
That's it. Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
You got your lions. Okay.
All right.
And these guys, you know, are nicely done. You got nice depth, you know, in the landscape. Everything's moving, you know, back for you. The lions are coming forward, you know. And, you know, the old guy there, you know, he looks pretty stately and, you know, pretty happy. And then this guy, okay,
Yes.
you,
I put the alizarin crimson on it in the area,
Right.
the eye that's closest to us to change the, yes, in there. We changed where the light was so light by the around the eye and then on the
right.
side of the face, the plane of the side of the face there. Yes, in there.
And you see just knocking that down,
Yes.
see how much lighter it made that feel, and now it feels round, right?
Yes. Right.
And
Yeah.
it didn't take that much.
No.
Okay.
It was very light wash, very minimal.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. It's like sometimes, you know, you get these to a point, and it just takes that little bit to take it where you want it,
Right.
you know, and you're done. Okay. Claudia, I see you now. So you made it back. Let's talk about your lady in the hat. Okay. Tell us about her. You got to unmute yourself, dear.
I flipped the statue from left to right.
You mean
so that her head is not the way that it was sent to me.
Mm-hmm.
So she's facing a different direction.
Right.
But I wanted to put a hat on her head. So I didn't finish it, but I end up trying to do a cowboy hat. And it was one of my hats that I have, and so it's not quite finished. But I wanted to, and I thought I might even do another person with another kind of hat. So I could, so I just did the hat, and I put a shadow under because there was some shadow there before, and just tried to see what she would look like. Mm-hmm. And then I will try to clean her up a little bit more. Okay. And the problem was also is that I thought I should have did a wash on the right arm. I guess it's the right arm. Right arm, and because that's part of that arm is in shadow, and it should have been a wash so you could have looked like seen part of it. But on the picture when I looked at it, it was just so dark, so I had to bring that out. And if you can see that part of that arm is in shadow, so her arm is really not quite that skinny, that thin. It's in shadow, and when I look at it from the painting, it doesn't look like it's in shadow. It looks like it's just real thin. So that needs to be cleaned up and fixed up.
Well, the thing is, if you can have a dark value there, it doesn't need to be as dark as the background, and it needs to have some kind of warmer color that's going to relate to the color of the flesh tones. Okay.
Now from the picture though, it was the shadow on the arm was darker than the background.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it that way.
Okay.
So I made that side over there just a little bit lighter so you would see that dark shadow. I don't know why that shadow was so much darker. But I think if I had maybe made it like a wash, it would have kind of still been dark, but you would have been able to see through it.
Right.
Because right now it doesn't look like you can see through it. I should have put the wash there. I should have did more of a wash on those things.
Yeah, the color and the temperature right here
mm-hmm.
is the exact same as is on the outside of the arm, which kind of fades into the background. And that, again, that can't be. there's going to be a warmer color here rather than this black or dark gray.
Mhm.
You know, again, if you get some flesh tone in there, you can
It
make
works, so,
it dark. Just don't make it as dark as back here, since you push this, you know, into that kind of black kind of realm, right? The
Yeah.
same thing is true with the shadow being cast from the hat.
Uh-huh.
Again, it's got to relate more to the flesh tones, because right now the value of this and the color are so similar to the hat itself. It
Yes.
just seems like it's still part of the hat rather than the
Mhm.
shadow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and you could apply the same rule of thumb down here to this shadow, moving around the leg and the ankle. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. And I think I would have done better if there were more of a like, as you said, add a little bit more of the flesh kind of color in there, but have it more of like a wash.
Well, yeah, you could do it with washi, but you can do it opaquely as well. Now, is this oil?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, now I don't know, you know, it could be totally dry now, but my guess is it's probably not. So you could always go back in and you could throw, you know, like a darker flesh tone in here
Okay.
and add to it. Soften that edge up a bit, you know, so it's not so hard. And it all feels like it's the same, you know, arm moving around in the shadow. Okay.
Okay.
You
All
got
right.
the
Yeah.
you got the value structure out here. You just haven't gone far enough and bring it in here. All right.
All right.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, I'd like to see that when it's done.
Yeah, but, and the other one, I have to decide whether I'm going to, if I'm going to put another hat, what kind of hat. And and the other one is a portrait straight up and down. This was on the landscape on it, and it's 12 by 14, something like that.
Okay. And I noticed that you painted inside the edge of the canvas to make a frame or a border. Right?
Yeah, I should have taped it first.
I was gonna suggest that you take a little bit of tape.
Uh-huh.
If you're gonna go in and touch it up anyway, you could put some tape down, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
And then, you know, just go ahead and, you know, clean up those lines.
Okay.
You know, paint back into them, pull the tape. If I were gonna use tape on that canvas though, I would get some of that tape that it's by Scotch. It's called 810 transparent tape. And I would use that. And the reason I would use that is that it gets a much, much cleaner seal on that canvas. And it's going to give you a crisper, sharper line. Than,
you said 810 transparent tape?
Yeah, Scotch 810 transparent tape. And you can get it at like Office Max or, you know, any office supply store. You could probably also get it at the dollar store and places like that. It's a little different than the regular Scotch tape,
Okay.
in the sense that it's frosted, okay? And it doesn't appear to have like a real aggressive tack to it, but it does actually. You know, when you put it down, it holds really, really well.
Okay.
And you just, you know, lay it down and just burnish it with like the back of your fingernail across it, you know, to make sure it's stuck really good, and particularly around the, you know, right on the edge. And then, you know, you mix your color and, you know, you work along the edge of it. Don't brush into it. Just move in the same direction as the edge. Okay.
Okay.
Push into the edge, you're going to push paint up under it. Right?
Okay.
There's a few tricks and stuff like that, but
okay.
But you know, it should be fairly easy to clean up. And like I said, if you make those value changes, and this hole in her elbow right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a strong dimple.
and there probably was a strong shadow there, because
a dimple.
Yeah,
it was a dimple. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that muscle group that's right on the top of your forearm, right? And as it turns, it does kind of create a shadow in there sometimes. But again, nowhere near that dark probably, and it's got to relate more to being a flesh color,
Okay.
not a neutral black. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Everybody hang on to your horses. We got a naked man in the house. Okay, this was some of the reference I sent out. And John took this on and did a piece of artwork with it. John, here?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, tell us what inspired you to use this figure, and I guess what kind of story did you put behind it?
Okay, this is my second submission for the challenge. The first one, if you recall, was the real abstract that I superimposed the woman on the first picture across the leg. And what attracted me in both of them was more the geometric shapes than the actual body form. And I haven't done anything with figures, and I wanted to somehow do something with the geometric shape of the body, which I was probably a little more successful with in the first one, I think, than it was in this one.
Okay. Anything else you got to say about it?
That was my inspiration. That was my inspiration.
What do you do?
All right.
Your blending is so good.
Well, now this is
Okay.
okay. So this is an early stage of his painting.
Yeah, in progress. I got the figure in there, and then I did the backgrounds.
Yeah, and then I think this is probably the next step.
Right.
And so you see, you're beginning to see the figure sort of emerge, right? And
Correct.
then this is a little bit further down the line.
Right. That would be the final act.
Yeah.
And after I did that, I got I usually don't title the work I do, but I put a title on this one as the creation of man, coming up from the water and the sea, the earth, the sky.
Okay. So you see, you've got a story and everything behind it. You know, he's got this idea that he's working with now. And overall, I would say you did a really pretty good job at it. And I like how you added the background. You kind of put him in some kind of context. You know, now there's a story to it. You know, people can look at kind of.
There's actually one that's after this one. When I looked at this, I saw that the far thigh to me was too intense. So I did send one where I softened the thigh in the back. Is that it?
This guy right here.
Right, and to me that seemed to work.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And it does. You know, this leg sits back.
Right, which I didn't think it did the first time.
Yeah, it does, but not as well. Because here you modified the color, so the color
Yes.
well
Right.
as the overlapping shape. Okay. So the only thing I would say about this piece, okay, I like the direction you're headed in it. You know, I mean, it's a good, strong idea. You know, areas like this where you get all these hard edges, you know, within the form of the figure, I would say take just a wet brush, okay, with water in it, nothing more than water, and just wet those and let them set for a few minutes. If you need to, after they set for a few minutes, take a soft, dry brush and, you know, just soften the edges. That doesn't mean take it out of there. That just means soften it so that it's not quite such a hard shape.
My intention, I know it was harder, but my thought was that it was absorbing the earth through the arm into the body for the formation.
Yeah, again,
that was my thinking.
Again, the color doesn't bother me, you know, and you still get that if, you know, I'm not saying change the color, just use clear water and see, it's just blur that edge in there a little.
Okay, guys, I see what you're saying. You're right.
Yeah, so it's not quite so hard. Okay. And then
Okay.
it will feel like it's actually part of the arm. Okay.
I got you.
Yeah, because right now those edges look a lot like your edges out here.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I love the movement of the body. You've got that done really nicely.
Yeah,
Thank
he's got that feeling of the twist in the figure, which is, it's really nicely done.
Very nice picture.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then we have these girls.
And the double
The
lady.
first piece you submitted. So that's your line work.
Right. That's the first picture where I superimposed the two.
Yeah.
The same figure twice.
Right.
And I did background.
Mhm.
And try to put in there's some of the darker values.
Yeah, I like that, John. I started trying to do that, but
Well,
thank you for doing that, John. Thank you for doing that, John.
My first attempt at something like this. I usually don't do abstract.
Thank you.
Glad you showed it in the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the larger one, I think. No, they're both, I guess, the same size. So, let me.
Here we go.
So when I'm looking at this, I still see the figures, right? Which I want to do. But at the same time, you've got them almost broken up into these geometric shapes. And
Yes, correct. And that was my intent. I like that initially the geometric.
Yeah, and in a way, it kind of flattens the shape overall, which
Right.
For your intent of what you're trying to do isn't necessarily a bad thing. And see, now it becomes a truly abstract painting. That you can look at it and go, okay, well, yeah, I kind of see figures in there.
Yeah, instead of lanes going everywhere, John. I like it there.
Thank you.
Then let's talk about this young lady. Let's see. Okay, let's start with this one. Okay. All right. So this is the one that you submitted earlier.
Right. That was the first one. Yes.
Yeah, and overall, I like, the contrast in it and how everything sort of fits together and it feels. It's a nice little head study, right? But then you sent me this. This was a later version. Okay.
Right. I worked on the eyes. Your comment was on the first one that the eyes were.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. But yeah, you worked on the eyes here, but you kind of almost like overdid them.
Okay.
A little bit is a good thing. Too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing. Okay. Now, the good news is easy solution. Again, water. Okay.
Okay.
Just wet, not the top eyelid or the top of the eye, but on the bottom side,
right
along here, just wet that and don't scrub at it or just put a little bit of water on it, let it sit and let it soften up a bit. Okay. Same thing, particularly like right in here. Okay. And
along that lower lid.
Yeah.
That line.
Yeah, because your upper lid's fine. Okay, it's that you've made them both equal, and that cannot be. Do you know why it can't be?
The light hits with the
light and shadow.
Okay. Yes. What
Position, about the direction of the fold of the skin?
Well, yeah, it's the direction that the whole plane is moving in.
Right.
This is not a flat area. It's actually a ball, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you're going to catch more light up here. You're going to get a strong shadow under the upper eyelid. But as it moves down and around, you're going to get this light, right? But it's not going to have a dark outline inside. You know, this light is going to be the edge of the eye.
Yeah. You can see, I tried to lighten it a little bit, but I guess it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, you know, if you just soften that up,
Yeah.
you won't take the light out and you won't take the shadow out. But what
Right, correct.
you let them sort of soften, feel a little more natural, and then her eyes won't look quite so harsh. Okay?
I didn't know you could put water on oil and it would get softer.
This is
This
not.
is water. Oh, this is watercolor.
It's all watercolor.
Okay.
That's all I work in is watercolor.
Okay.
Yeah. If you put water on oil, you'll get some really nice beads.
Yeah.
You know, it will sit there and bead up for you and everything, but it won't do anything to the oil.
Yes, yeah, all three of the ones they're showing, they're all watercolors.
Oh,
Okay.
the ladies are watercolor also, huh?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, good.
Yeah. John has gotten back. Excuse me. He's gotten back home, and now he's got toys to play with, right?
Right, yes.
And he's not just limited to colored pencils. Okay.
Correct.
So, and that's a good.
back in the game.
That's right. So now he can experiment and play with stuff, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is June. Yes, I see her name. Miss Wang, can you talk to us?
Yes.
Okay. So we know who this is. This is you. Okay. And
Yes.
Wrong. Which I thought you did a really nice job, you know, in your drawing. Okay. And then you went and you put color on it. Okay.
Oh,
And you actually
Yeah.
did a pretty nice job of putting color on there too.
that's nice.
So all of that's working pretty well. The only thing I would say is that your mountains back here,
Uh-huh.
soften these up a little bit, and they would sit further back for you. Now, right here, I wouldn't do anything in this area. I'm talking about your mountains back here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
If you just soften those edges up just a little bit, then
Uh-huh.
move back behind this mountain. Okay?
Okay.
That will give you some depth and some distance.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Now, this is in Argentina. Now, this was a trip you took?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a January. This year, January. I have been there.
So this is recent then, which is nice.
Yes. This is last trip I went.
Okay.
I supposed to have the plan to go to the Egypt and Israel, but because virus, I didn't have chance to go.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not wanting us anywhere these days. We're not.
Yeah.
They said stay at home, keep your bug at home, don't bring it to us. Thank you. Okay. You know, if I were gonna, you know, try to tell you how to improve this, like I said, I would soften up the mountains back here. I wouldn't mess with these much. Okay. I think these are okay. Just back in here, I would just soften that up, and it will make it feel like it's further away, right?
Yes.
At the same time, you know, even though a lot of this grass and stuff like that are closer to us, you know, I would probably soften it as well, a little bit, just a little.
Okay.
The reason being is that you got a lot of really kind of hard, sharp edges in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to kind of lessen that so that the sharper edges in and around your figure, you know, the tree,
Okay.
you, the sign, those will all read real clearly and they'll become your focal point. because they do have those hard edges and that
Is this an
contrast.
oil?
Pardon?
Is this an oil painting?
Yes,
Yeah,
oil painting.
oil. And so, you know, you can handle that in a lot of different ways. You could go back and just repaint those areas, but I wouldn't do that. I would use a glaze. Just again, now most of the time when you're using a glaze, you don't put anything okay in there, right? But because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to soften the edges and everything quite a bit, I would put just a little touch of white. And, you know, in the mountains case, again, you know, maybe a little bit of blue, right? And wash over it, and you'll see it fade it back, okay? Now, you're gonna have to be real careful and not put too much white in, okay?
Okay.
It's gonna pretty much gonna look clear. Okay? Not gonna be like real cloudy or anything like that. And you're just gonna wash over those mountains back there and it'll help soften it. Here, you could kind of use the same thing, but rather than use a blue, I would use a green, okay? We use more of like a yellow green rather than a blue green, right?
Okay.
And try not to leave a halo around your part. Bring the green all the way up against.
All the way. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So now that we picked on you enough, okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. So now we have Lady, and it's like every time I look at this piece, I get really floored by it. It's really a very, very nice piece of artwork.
It is. I love it.
Yeah, and it's you know, she took the inspiration from that photograph, and the way that she treated everything, using the photography and repeating it, things like that. Those are all real contemporary ideas, and you know, she pulled it off really well. And I know she gets tired of hearing how well she did, but
yes, I do.
I bet.
I'll have to make her a blue ribbon for that one.
Yeah.
I think you should do a couple more panels, have a series of 3 panels.
Yeah, you could. You could. Yeah, it's really one of the very nicest pieces. You know.
What size is that?
That is on a fabric panel, and that panel is, I think it's like 30, 33, 35 inches long and 18 inches wide.
Oh, that's big.
It's a panel that, you know, fabric comes on. When you go to the fabric store, and you get a bolt, you know, pick up a bolt. Yeah, so those are cardboard panels.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yeah. Now.
That's creative. Now that's creative.
Thank you.
That's opposite of me, man. That's creative.
Yeah. I try to do all my artwork on stuff that's recyclable. I just, you know, cardboard and things like that. Yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah, you're just so creative. I mean, you know, just everything you look at, it just turns into something else.
Oh,
just creative.
Thank you.
So Claudia, here's the part she didn't mention. I guess you put what, a couple of coats of gesso down on that cardboard, right?
Yeah, I usually put gesso on it, but on this one I didn't gesso it. It's all glue, and again, my new thing is the wallpaper, and the gold bird is wallpaper and spray paint and puzzle pieces. But yeah, usually I gesso it, but this one I didn't gesso because I knew I wanted to put the copies of the actual artwork, so it wasn't going to be paint on the cardboard, so I didn't have to gesso it. But usually I gesso everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would think that, you know, putting even if I were going to put a collage on this, put other layers on top, I would still probably gesso it. And the reason that I would do that is that the gesso, the purpose of that is that it creates a barrier that acids and things from the cardboard can't move up into your other pieces of paper and paint and things like that.
Okay.
The acids will eventually affect, those color copies.
Mm.
And so putting gesso down on it gives you this neutral barrier that stops those acids and things from leaching through and into your into your photocopies and any of the paint and stuff you put on there. Okay.
Okay.
So that's why you put gesso on things like that.
Right.
Particularly anything, particularly like commercial cardboard, because it's all pretty much so almost 100% wood pulp.
Mm-hmm.
And that wood pulp has a lot of acid, in the pulp of the paper. And so if it comes in contact with something, with something else for a long period of time, the acids and things in that are going to leach out of it and into the thing that's next to it or attached to it. Okay.
Okay. It's good to know.
Yeah. It's all about physics. See?
Yeah.
And, that and a little bit of chemistry, and what acid will do to things. And believe me, it will make a mess out of it over time. Larry, are you here?
Yeah.
Larry, did you go to jail or what? He keeps, coming up with this, yeah, county jail. Okay, I guess he's not here. I guess we'll skip.
I see his name on the list.
Yeah. Okay, so this is May. May, are you here?
Yes, I am.
There you go. All right. So now this is what you sent me the other day, right?
Right, first one. Uh-huh.
Okay. And then this was the photograph that you took that from.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the
Yeah, I worked on a little bit. Yeah.
okay. And so, you got a little more color in the skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you grayed down and softened
But water. Uh-huh.
quite a bit, okay? So here's where I would kind of recommend that you go.
Okay.
All right. One is his neck and the size of his face and the size of her face could go just a little bit wider.
Okay.
Because they both have, if you go back to the original photo, they both have a little more weight on them. And I know you're trying to thin them down and, make
I know. That was my intention.
Right, more attractive and stuff. But the thing is, you kind of thin them down a little too much, right?
Oh, okay.
And if you kind of broaden that out a little bit, she'll look a little bit softer, so will he. And they'll look a little more like who they are. Okay?
Okay.
The other thing is, all right, so you've grayed all this back and that works pretty well, but starting about right here, go back in and put a few darker edges and things, not anything that's going to compete with them, but, just to indicate clearer breaks in the waves, things like that.
Where? Almost top of the water or?
No, right here. From here.
Oh, okay.
See, because it's closer to you, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to see, the shapes of the waves and things a little more clearly in here.
Uh-huh.
You will back here, right?
Okay.
So you see, we're going to leave all this alone until about right there. And then you're just going to kind of put in just a few little indications of a couple little waves back there.
Okay.
And as it comes forward, then you can get a little more detailed, right?
Okay. Okay. So can this be like a little intense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you want it to be closer to you.
Okay.
Now, be careful. Don't go wild and crazy with it because you don't want to them, right? And the way
Okay.
that you handle, you know, the waves and things and all the foam on the wave and the water right here is all really nicely done. You've got some nice transitions of color in there and stuff. So leave all that alone. It's really kind of like from here to about there. And again, don't go overboard. Just a few here and there. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Keep them just a little bit soft. All right?
Okay.
Okay. We have Naomi. Naomi, are you here? No. Okay. So unlike Naomi not to be here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, here I am.
All right. So look, you did a nice job, you know, on this girl. She doesn't look happy, but you know, it's got a nice mood to it still. Okay. You know, and again, you know, you've kept the colors kind of consistent across the face, changed the values just a little bit. So it feels like it's got a little bit of form to it. All right. So you did that really nicely. You got your lady in high heels here. Okay.
Now you know, when I did it, I didn't see her face is too small. It's a mess, but you know what? When I was doing it and I finished and I went to bed, and then my husband put it up, I see what's wrong, the head and the chest.
Okay. What's wrong with the chest?
I don't know, her head looks wrong. The neck and the head is wrong. It's too small.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
It's out of proportion.
Yeah, you could make a little less hair, maybe a little more face in there.
Yeah. But it's funny how when you're doing it, you don't see it.
No, because you're focused on a small area and you're not looking at the big picture, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why you got to kind of stop every once in a while, take a few steps back, you know, look at it, check it, okay, and then adjust it.
You have to go over her.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Okay. All right. Again, you know, I still love that piece. You know, that's really, really strong, really nice. You know, she's really cute and, you know, a little bit different mood and style to it, but really nicely done. Whoop. Keep this girl. Now this one, you know, you're getting a little too hard.
Yeah, on the eyes.
Yeah, and you know what I was telling, I think it was John, you know, this is watercolor, right?
Yes.
Okay. So again, just take no paint, just water. Just water, okay? And with a little bit of, you know, it doesn't have to be like a real small brush, but, you know, fairly small brush, just along the edge here. Just take straight water and just put a paint stroke down right there and let it sit on the bottom eyelid and see if you can't soften those lines up just a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
And do that, then the upper eyelid will be in shadow, okay? And sticking out, you know, over the eye, which is what it does. Then we have your lovely horse here. And again, you know, I like what you're doing in here, other than you could take a little bit of water and you could soften, you know, all that back, really just like that lower 2/3 of the face, you know, just let the colors and things stay the way they are. Again, you know, just take a little bit of water and soften some of these hard edges in here. Just, that doesn't mean scrub it. That means dip your brush in water, take the water, paint along the edge, leave a fair amount of water, and just let the water dissolve the paint and soften it and move it around for you, okay? Don't go scrubbing it. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We got a funny looking rabbit there. Looks like he's...
My husband loves that little bunny.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he looks like he's ready for Easter.
Yes.
Easter bonnet.
I really like this one. You know, it's got a nice mood to it. It's a different color palette. It's not as stark and as strong. It looks softer. But you handled everything there really nicely. And, you know, go back and try to do some more of that.
Yeah.
This girl right here, again, you know, really a very, very strong, you know, face. It's got a nice combination of elements of drawing and painting in it. And, you know, I would, you know, hang on to that one, okay? Same thing with her, okay? Again, you know, it's nicely sort of drawn, but again, you did the same thing with the eyes here.
Yeah.
This upper lid cannot be the same value and same color as the lower lid. Just can't happen.
It should be lighter.
Yeah, it should be lighter. The bottom lid here could have a little more red in it. Okay, leave this one the way it is. Again, if this got a little bit warmer down there, it would feel more like a three-dimensional line. Okay. Let's see who else. Okay, yeah, we got plenty to go. I'm going to skip over some of these, Naomi. Okay, because we need to get down.
Oh, wait, this one that I just did. This one. Go down. No, go down one. Yeah, that I just did.
Okay. So
I went a little wild.
You did. And
yes.
You went back to your old habits.
Yes, but it's something different.
Well, you didn't outline all of these, okay? But again, you kept them so hard, and the value doesn't relate to the form. You know, they're just kind of patches of color. Now,
yeah.
You know, she could be wearing a dress with patches of color, but, you know, if this is going to be her skin tone, then...
I copied this.
Okay. Yeah, but the value has to relate to each other. You can't have like a real light and then a real dark right next to each other, and then go back to another light, right? It's going to have kind of a softer transition.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
So,
how much time a day do you spend painting, Naomi?
A lot. While I listen to talk shows, I sit in my easy chair and I do it, you know, so why do you say that?
You've got a lot of volume. Huh?
I do have volume, but I'm not careful. Let's put it that way.
Well, you are.
Other people have fewer and it's perfect. Mine is
but they're most of them are fun.
Yeah.
They're fun. Yeah.
Well, the fact is, Naomi, that's not true always. You know, some you do take your time on, and it shows, and it works better for you. Okay.
You know what I just read somewhere? 30% of what you paint is if you get 30% that you do well, that's good.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
What do I think?
About 30% is good.
Well, what I think is that you have people who paint their whole life, right?
Yeah.
And pretty much so, you know, they're happy with it for about the first 10 minutes to maybe 2 or 3 hours. And then they start looking at it and figuring out all the things that are wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
But what that does is that leads them to the point to where at some point, because they're going to keep painting, they're going to do some things that are really going to come together, and they're going to make a really nice piece of art. And if you get, let's say that you paint for 50 years, right? And you get 10 really great paintings out of that 50 years.
Yeah.
You just made yourself a master.
Oh, okay.
Think about that. Because if you look at Mark Rothko, you look at Caravaggio, you look at Leonardo da Vinci, you look at Vermeer, it's not like they have thousands of paintings out there.
Yeah.
You know, they've got maybe a couple hundred paintings total, and maybe like 8 to 10 of them are really masterpieces, right?
So I shouldn't feel bad.
No. No. You don't need to feel bad about any of it. You know?
I have a question for Naomi.
Yeah.
Hi, Naomi.
Hi.
Are you going for quantity of work? Are you trying to, do you have a goal set?
Okay. What I'm
like
doing.
100 is it a month or what is it?
No, that's a good question. No, I am enjoying myself and I'm trying to get better, but I am enjoying it. You know, and if I do a lot and I make mistakes, then the next one I'll do better, you know. I hope.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to sell them or anything. I am just for an old lady, I am enjoying myself. That's I love it and I'm trying to improve.
Yeah.
But it takes me out of my corona world. It just takes me out of my world. When I paint, I'm relaxed. It does a lot for me.
Therapy.
Very important to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you know, you really crank them out, baby.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm sitting in a dark leather chair and I get watercolor on it and it doesn't matter. I wipe it up. So I crank it up. I am spending time, but in the meantime, I'm listening to talk shows or documentaries. So that's what I'm doing. But in the winter, I'll go in my basement and do my acrylic. And that is, I concentrate more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're doing some nice things. And you know, we were talking about the fact that, you know, if you crank out lots and lots of paintings, you know, and you get 8 to 10 of them that are really, really good paintings, then you're doing really well. Okay. And if you look at what you produced just within the last month, right? You have at least 4 or 5 really, really nice, you know, paintings in there. So,
Thank you.
So with, you know, I mean, if you look at the averages of that, you keep going, you know, yeah, you're going to have a lot of nice work, right?
Well, the important thing is I'm enjoying it too. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the first thing. You know, you've got to really enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, then something's wrong. Okay. Anyway, okay, Rebecca, are you here? No. Okay, we'll get Rebecca at a different time. Yeah, I want to get down to Surin. Are you here? You were. Surin, where are you? I saw his name. Well, okay. All right. Moving on. Then we have the lovely Miss Wanda, and we know that Wanda is here. Okay.
Oh, I like
Yes,
that.
I'm here.
Yeah, Wanda.
Yes.
I think this is my favorite piece of art I've ever seen you do.
Oh my God! Thank you.
Wow.
Very pretty.
Yeah, this is really
Thank you.
nice. I mean, yeah, it's a nice design, nice composition, nice color, value, you know. You've got the mountain back there, which could have, you know, like really overwhelmed the whole thing, and you kept it nice and soft, and it's moving back in the distance for you. Good job.
Thank you. Wow.
Wanda, you sound like you're surprised.
I am.
Sauces on this skirt. I like that skirt. I like that skirt.
Now
That's a cover. That's the cover.
Now there's a
Okay. That was a purple skirt.
yeah, there's an artist that I want you to look at. Okay.
Okay.
His name is Erte.
Erte.
Yeah, E-R-T. Spell Erte. It's pretty simple.
E-R-T-E? E-R-T-A?
Or Y, I think.
Oh, Y. Okay.
I want you to look him up. All right?
Okay. Yes.
Now, his stuff is really highly designed. Okay. It's I think he was a fashion designer originally. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And now he does kind of graphic figures. Well, did. I don't think he's around anymore.
Okay.
but you know, he very carefully designs everything, you know,
Okay.
in his compositions, right? And I want you to look at his work, okay? Because
Okay, I will.
he likes to use, you know, a lot of pattern, you know, like that,
Huh?
things like that,
Okay.
in his pieces as well, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And I think you find him inspirational.
The woman or man live upstairs?
Say what?
June.
Huh?
Are you
And
talking?
June needs a mute. No, that's June. She needs a mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
Whether-
before we move,
Yeah, I didn't know whether you were talking to us or what.
and
Oh.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Hey, Wanda?
Yes, yes.
Was the ladies with the
On
basket?
the one
was that
before
yours?
this.
I can't hear the ladies talking.
Okay.
Was,
Okay, on
was
this
the,
one, is the pink fabric?
no, did
Yeah,
you
those-
do,
those
did
are-
you
those
do the
are-
other painting of the ladies with the basket?
Yes.
Is that yours?
Yes.
Yeah, this looks like a continuation of like a series to me.
Oh, okay.
Like
But you see the pink things of what are the pink things?
Those are like curtains. Those are curtains.
Yeah, it looks like curtains. Yeah.
I mean, but it's fabric. It's not painted, right?
Oh no, that's painted. This is all watercolor.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, okay. Mm.
Yeah, Wanda got out of her out of her usual mixed media mode.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of mixed media, but she's not. I don't think she's using any fabric in this. I think this is all paint, right?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Because I thought fabric because I see lines on it on both sides. You know, the horizontal line. That's why I thought it was fabric.
Yeah. Well.
Oh yeah. I was trying to give it the look of drapery, just hanging. You know.
No, I like it. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, you achieved that because Bernice thought it was fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was fabric.
Anyway, it's,
Okay.
yeah, it's a really lovely piece, and yeah, I mean, you know, you did exactly what, you know, I asked you guys to do, which was to take, you know, a couple of those sources of inspiration, you know, put them together, make them your own, and it really has, you know, a really lovely mood how you tied the pose of the figure with the sort of landscape, you know, with the bird and things. It's got this very kind of tranquil feel to it. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Then we have your lovely face.
Yes.
Now, you didn't paint this or anything, right? But this is her inspiration, and you're trying to do a portrait of yourself, right?
Yes. Yes.
A self-portrait. Okay?
Yes, a self-portrait.
And by the way, if you've never tried to do a portrait of someone, I highly encourage all of you to try to do a self-portrait of yourself. Okay? That's what self-portraits are. The reason being, okay, the person, you know, that you're doing the painting of isn't going to get mad at you. But the other
Might if it doesn't look good.
But the other point of it is too, you're going to find out a lot about how you see yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And so doing self-portraits can be very revealing, you know. And if you look at artists throughout history, say like Rembrandt, okay? Rembrandt did lots of self-portraits of himself, but he wasn't the only one. Frans Hal did quite a few. You know, I mean, Leonardo da Vinci did many, many drawings of himself, okay?
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. You know, and the list goes on. But
You get a cheap model.
Well,
that's a cheap model.
Yeah, it's a cheap model. Okay.
I did one of myself this past spring. I don't know if I ever sent that in or not. I'll have to resend it.
Okay. Yeah, but in a way, you know, those pieces of work are more introspective and they show more about who you are and more about how you feel or who you feel you are, right? And that's an important thing, you know, for an artist to sort of get a handle. Okay. So anyway, Here's Wanda's.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
How cute.
It is. It's
Very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Now here's a couple of things, and these are just technical things that I'm going to say to you. Okay.
I guess it's more like a caricature than anything else.
Well, it is a little bit. Okay, it is a little bit, right? Now, the thing that might help that, and I've talked to several people about that today, is you got to pay more attention to value, okay? And you know what value is. We talk about it enough. It's how light or how dark colors are, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, let's go back to the original photo you're working from, right? Is the light on your face even? Is it the same everywhere?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. But if you look at how you've drawn yourself, it's kind of the same everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Right. So you see it varies. It gets lighter and darker depending on the lighting situation. In this particular case, you have a very strong light coming in from the left-hand side, and it looks kind of like upper left because you're getting a lot of light on your forehead, a lot of light on your cheekbone, a lot of light, you know, on the top plane of your nose, and then a little bit of light along the side of the orbit of your mouth, right? Over right here. Okay? As it moves down, though, the lights here, like below your nose, are not as bright as the lights up here.
Right, right.
And the reason for that is that your face isn't perfectly flat. See, there's a curve to it, right? So the part that's moving forward is catching more light from here to there, and the part that's moving away from the light, down and away, is beginning to fall more into shadow, right? So even though you have some light down there, it's not going to be as bright as the light up here, okay?
Yes, I see.
And then, of course, as you move around your head from left to right, okay, you're getting what we call, you know, the light here, and it's moving into shadow. And see, if you squint your eye down, you're going to find the darkest part of that shadow really kind of right down the center of your face, like the bridge of your nose right here, and your forehead, and, you know, the around your mouth and your chin.
Okay.
All quite a bit darker, right?
It is.
And then as it keeps moving back around your head, what happens? It starts getting lighter again, right?
Yeah.
As it moves to that side plane. And the reason for that is you're getting what we call indirect or reflected light back over here. And that tells you that your head is not a flat shape.
Okay.
It's actually curved and rounded, okay?
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Around this way, but also from top to bottom too, okay? Yeah, think of it almost like an egg shape, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. But if you paid more attention to those values, okay, then your drawing would begin to have more dimension and form to it, and it would look more like your actual head.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Yeah, because and what I would encourage you to do is rather than work on this, try to do another drawing. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this time, though, rather than just work with outline, you know, work with those darker and lighter colors and values. Try to build those up and begin to get more of that dimensional form, right?
Okay.
And of course, your hair is really overall much darker than what you've made it in the drawing, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because your hair, if you look at the original,
yeah, yeah,
quite a bit darker.
Right, it is.
Yeah. And so you see, and it's far darker in your hair here than anything on your skin tones, right?
Yes, yes.
And all of those values, and see, they're relative to each other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
You can't make this area as dark as your hair. If you do that, it's not going to look right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
There's reasons for those things. Okay.
Okay.
And let's move on. This is your still life, right?
Oh yeah. This is the first one I sent. I have changed it quite a bit. I'll send in another one.
Okay. All right, but you've got some nice things working here for you. You know, you've got you know, the glass, the feel of the glass, and you know, they're not flat because you see that they're translucent or transparent, right? So you can kind of see through them.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a few of the reflected lights and highlights, which really begin to describe the form, you know, of those bottles and things.
Okay.
Yeah. Like these two are working pretty well. The glasses, you're okay there.
Okay.
This one, yeah, you need to kind of find a little more of that, you know, going on, particularly up here, you know, because that's where the most of the light's going to be hitting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I hadn't started working on that one yet. I was still working on those other three, but you'll see it the next time. It'll be showing much better.
Okay. All right. And then last but not least, you peeking out from behind these exotic flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, you know.
Look like you.
Well, and it does look a lot like her. Okay. You know, it kind of reminds you, yeah, okay, that kind of feels like Wanda. All right. Now, you know, you don't have your glasses. So this is a little more of a glamour shot of you. But again, you know, it's a really nice composition, and it's kind of in between your still life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your piece up here, you know, that's more designed, right? Yeah. It's kind of a hybrid of the two of those. And what I would say, you know, with this is push it one direction or the other. You know, either make it a more representational drawing like your portrait, or make it more stylized and simplify it, kind of like you did the piece up here. Okay. And
the only thing with this piece is on tile, and
and it's painted, right?
Yeah, so maybe I just do another one.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I'm a big advocate. If you've got something that you like and it's done,
mm-hmm.
you know, rather than mess with it, I would rather see you do it again and try it and incorporate new things into it. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to see you messing up something that you like.
Oh, absolutely right.
Yeah, because you've got time and energy invested in that, so
mm-hmm.
you know, a piece of tile is not that expensive, and you could always throw a little more paint, you know, on another piece, and who knows? You know, you may like it more, you may like it less. Okay?
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Okay. Anyway, so that's.
But thank you for showing those.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Charles, can I have a quick question?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to mail that painting. It's a 20 by 20. Is there any way you could safely and inexpensive way to mail them? Do you have any idea?
Yeah.
How or?
Well, where are you mailing it to?
New York.
Okay. All right. So it's not leaving the country. So yeah, you could go down to FedEx Kinko's.
Uh-huh.
They actually have boxes. It will cost you probably about $60.
Okay.
Because you're paying for the box, but the box is well worth it, because what it will do, it's set up for a painting of various sizes, and it actually will have a sleeve that the painting sits in. So it's suspended and it's not up against the side of the box. So if the box gets, you know, knocked around and stuff, it doesn't damage the paint.
Okay.
But you know, you can get it there in like a couple of days, or like, you know, probably not overnight.
Okay.
But you know, pretty soon, and it will get there safely, and you know, believe me, it's well worth the money.
Okay, I see. So
not to worry about, you know, whether it's going to get crushed in the U.S. Post Office or not. So.
Okay, for if you send by FedEx, you don't really need to get insured or anything like that, because like, as you know, this is a wedding gift.
Yeah, they you can insure it. Yeah, and that would probably cover some of the cost. I think FedEx, I think they automatically insure it. You know,
Oh, okay.
artwork and stuff.
good.
Up to $100.
Oh, okay, up to $100. Okay.
Okay, if it's, you know.
But you can add on to that.
Yeah, I think you can get more.
You can go up to $500.
Yeah, but you have to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, you got to pay for
Okay.
it. All right.
Okay, nice to know. Thank you.
Okay, so before everybody goes away, okay, how's everybody doing? I know we're over.
Great.
Okay. I want to take a couple minutes and I want to share with you. Are we still sharing or did we end that?
We ended
It's,
that.
it's ended. We see you.
Okay, good. All right, so I want to share with you what I've been doing, okay?
Okie dokie.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. And, you
All
know,
right.
I've been busy. I've been doing some things. And so I want to just kind of run you through these real quick. All right. So you saw this earlier when it was just all value, okay? And it was just on a background. So what I did is I started putting, you know, some looser paint behind it. And all of this paint's very thin. And it's kind of almost treated like watercolor in the sense that, you know, that whole area was very wet. And I put it on after I did the value piece. Let's see. This is the original value piece, right? So that's how it looked before I started washing in some color behind it, okay? The other thing I did is I'm working in what we call glazes, right? They're real thin layers of paint. And so what I've done is I've got a couple of layers of orange, cadmium orange, and that's, so far, that's the only color I've used on the skin tones, you know, with what we would consider the underpainting, right? And I've used a little bit of Prussian blue right here in the hair to darken that down. And just to, you know, just to bring out some of the darker values in the hair, okay? And that's all I've
This
done.
is oil, correct?
Pardon?
Oils?
Yes, yeah. This is all oil paint, okay? Well, that's not true. I do have some watercolor in there as well, all right? But yeah, this is all oil, all right? I'll tell you when I'm using watercolor. This is a piece that I've been working on off and on for a couple of years. I got it to a point where I liked it. I've been looking at it and I needed to push a change in not just the value, but the temperature, okay? And so I've got some areas that are cooler and some areas that are warmer now, right? So what I did is I just, you know, took some alizarin crimson, or actually it was the, what is it? Permanent rose, okay, in oil paint. And I just glazed the face, some of the hair down this side of the arm, somewhat in the shadows right in here and the shadows in the arm. And it really helped begin to make this begin to feel more round, okay? So, you know, that was just a little tweak. I'm still in the process. I'm still going to push some value and stuff in there. And I want to try to even out her skin tone and make her look a little bit softer. So again, this is all still pretty early in the process of building up paint, right? This piece you saw, this was one of my little maquettes or idea sketches, right? For, you know, my final painting. And this is, I've titled it, it's called Halcyon Days. And I think I explained to you what that was.
Yeah, you did.
So anyway, this is, again, you know, just an idea sketch. And it's about, you know, 11 by 14, you know, on a toned canvas, just in raw umber and white. And that's it, okay? Before I did that piece, you know, and or the this piece right here, I did a drawing. You know, I had seen a young woman who she was very striking to me. All right. And I wanted to try to capture some of the feel, some of the softness of her. And so, you know, I just did this drawing of her, again, just as a study, right? And well, here, let's go down a little bit further. So along with that, I did a series of thumbnail sketches, right? And I started off, you know, with this as a thumbnail. And this is, again, in my sketchbook. It's not real big. It's probably like 4 by 5 inches or so. And again, just a loose little pen drawing, just to get an idea there. And I played with the composition, and I came up with about 8 to 10 different compositions. You know, these are 4 that I liked. Okay. All right, so this one's very vertical, right? Where some are more horizontal, and again, left, right, you know, dominant. But what I found is that, you know, there were elements of each of these that I liked, okay? And so what I did is, you know, when it came down to trying to compose the final piece, see, I used a little bit of all of them, okay? And again, you know, this is still pretty early in the painting. And I approached it very similar to this, you know, where I just used raw umber initially, right, and white. I came up with what we call a underpainting, right? You know, just laying things out, sketching it in. And then I've just started beginning to lay color over that underpainting and build that up. And so all of the paint on there is very thin. You know, the only thing, well, there's nothing on there that's even close to final yet. It's all still kind of the underpinning of the painting. But I am beginning to get, you know, some sense of where the light and where the shadow are, you know, and just kind of working all that out and trying to get sort of the mood of the painting going. And so far, I'm pretty happy with that. You know, and that's beginning to move in the direction that, you know, I was kind of intending from the very beginning. So I'm actually kind of excited about, you know, keeping at this one and working on it and developing it more. Whether I'll get it finished, it's unlikely I'll get it finished before I go on vacation. You know, because it's probably one of those paintings I'm going to probably put a good 80 to 100 hours, you know, before it's actually done, right? Let's see, where do I want to go from here? Okay. Remember the curriculum?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
You can have
Oh,
color.
wow. Look at
it's
it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so there
Beautiful.
was just watercolor.
beautiful.
Yeah, just laid watercolor over that ink wash drawing, okay? And then I let that dry, and I came back in and I punched it up with Prismacolor pencil, okay? So it became, you know, really a mixed media piece, right? And so, you know, same thing, you know, that you saw me do. I just, you know, added a little color to it, and see, it made all the difference in the world, right?
Mm.
Okay. And then,
Charles, this is Bob. I got a question about that.
Yeah.
You say you use Prismacolor. Do you find that a little bit waxy, and you know, you can't go back over it with, you know, if you had to with watercolor again, and it would do anything?
well, yeah, the fact is though, Bob, you can go back over it with watercolor. But if I were going to do that, you know, I always wait to put the Prismacolor on to the very last. Now, you know, I'm going to get all my watercolor down as much as I can. Now, there are occasions, okay, where I'll use a very light Prismacolor pencil And, you know, I'll lay in areas or patterns or something like that. And then I'll work back over it with watercolor to get what we call a watercolor or water resist technique. Okay. And so that Prismacolor will do what wax does, which is shed the water off. And it gives you, it's a bit of a graphic look to it. And, you know, there's times when you might. Okay.
Okay. That has a three-dimensional look right there.
Pardon?
That has a three-dimensional look right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can.
I'm standing out from the leaves.
Yeah, you can do you can do a lot with very simple tools. You know, watercolor, a few pencils. You know. All right. Last thing I wanted to share with you is, you know, you guys have seen this occasionally. You know, you saw the underpainting for it. So what I've done is I've still fairly early on in the painting. I've just started glazing color, you know, over the top of that underpainting, and I'm beginning to build up, you know, all of, you know, the different flesh tones, the coloration in the floor. I've still got to put the shadow in under the table. I've got to take the model, who is a reflection in that window, and I need to fade her back so she's not as strong and dominant. And I'm going to do that by just layering glazes over her until she fades back to the degree that I want her just reflected in that glass. Okay. So that's what I had to share.
Very nice.
Before you go, hello.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
You asked me to try to paint with my canvas upright rather than flat on the table.
Yeah.
Now, when I do flat on the table, if I need to, I can hold my right arm with my left arm so I can steady my hand. I don't know how to do that when it's standing up. It feels very awkward.
Well, you don't have an easel or anything at home, do you?
No, I stacked up some books on the table, like you said.
Right. Yeah. So
I do, but I feel the same way Bernice does.
She has an easel.
Right. But Bernice, here's the thing. By taking your artwork, right, and if you're working with acrylics or something, it's not going to drip and run a lot, and bringing it vertical, what you're going to do is you're going to help stop yourself from distorting your drawing because it's laying down and you're looking at it, you know, at this kind of extreme angle. And so you won't get the same amount of distortion. Now, it takes a little while to get used to, but, you know, just keep it propped up against the book, and you shouldn't have to hold it, you know, put something heavy down, you know, below it, you know, at the bottom so it won't move around on you.
Yeah, okay, I got that part. Okay.
Yeah.
You can draw an empty carton box like from the grocery store. You can cut an angle out of it and make a table easel.
Like an easel, yeah. Yeah, you can.
Except my question is, how do I steady my arm when it's at that angle?
Okay. Well,
the hand, because your hand is free.
Right. Okay, but the other thing is,
you can get a stick and hold the stick and paint on top of it.
Yeah, you could. You could use what we call a maul stick. The other thing that you can do is you could take, you know, like a little box or something like that, and just rest your forearm on it.
Oh, okay, okay.
See, you know, because if you're not used to working at an easel, your shoulder and your arm can get pretty tired. It actually takes a lot of effort, you know, to do that. And so a lot of artists will use a maul stick. They'll, you know, if you're working at a table, you can prop it up on a box, you know, like a small shoe box or something like that, with a towel laid over it. So, you know, it's a little softer on your arm. And just, you know, and just paint. And that way, you know, you're not having to hold your arm up all the time, and it doesn't stress your shoulder and stuff. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Lots of solutions to stuff like that. Okay. Anybody else?
No, you answered me along with Bernice.
Okay. All right. Well, guess what time it is?
Oh, already?
Yeah, well, let's see. Already, we have been at this for 1 hour and 47 minutes.
Oh,
Time flies when you're having fun, huh?
it sure does.
Wow.
It sure does.
So this was
I can't tell you what though, since you are still here, that made me ask you another question. You know, I go to Goodwill to get picture frame, let's call it thing, and canvas sometimes with it. But some of them, when they don't have like glass in front, some of them are canvas, but some of them look like hard cardboard.
Right.
But it has like a coat on it. Is that hard cardboard with gesso?
Well, more than likely, if it's on cardboard like that, it's really a print. Okay. So it's a print that's
Yeah, I'm sure they're all prints because I couldn't afford it.
right. But the thing is, trying to paint on top of a print is kind of a little bit iffy, you know, because the print may not hold up long term. You know, now what I would do is I would put gesso on that, kind of like Lady was gessoing her fabric bolts, right?
Okay.
And again, you know, that would give you a better surface to work on and make it last longer. Okay. Do something like that.
And the same thing if they're canvas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes they don't have, they're either, if they don't have glass on top, they're either canvas or they have thick hard cardboard.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what is that? How do you spell that? Gesso? How do you spell that?
Gesso.
Okay, thank you.
And you can find it online. You can go to Michael's, Joann's, you know, any kind of art supply store.
Okay. Okay.
You used to only be able to get it in white. Now you can get it in gray. You can get it in black. You know, I think maybe even a couple of other colors. But there's a difference between gesso and acrylic paint, right? And acrylic paint is just the plastic. The gesso actually has, it's like a calcium in it, and it makes a neutral barrier between the thing that you're painting on, what we call the substrate, and the paint that you're applying. And so that's...
Is it fast drying?
Yeah. You put a coat of gesso on, it will dry in about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the weather. Okay. And depending on how much gesso you put on. You know, if you pour it on,
half of the.
Huh? Hello?
What happened?
That was June again. She doesn't have.
Oh, sorry. The mistake. Sorry.
June, stop talking to everybody. No, talk to us if you want to talk. Okay. All right. So I guess if that's it, we will say goodbye.
All right. See ya.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. You all have a good day.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so
have
much.
a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys
Bye.
Tuesday, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good one.